Hi, welcome to class. A few reminders before I get started. Last week, please don't forget 4.1 to do the three assignments. What influence did Islam have on the three different continents? The video is located up at the top, right above Mastery Connect assignment. It does go over those assignments. Most of you that have turned it in, you have done a wonderful job. But please message me if you're struggling with those. Just make sure you get those turned in. There is a Mastery Connect assignment. In order to go to that, you just hit Clever on your Google Chrome and then click Mastery Connect. It should pop up, and if you click on this, it tells you what quiz to take. Please make sure you take that. Every class, I'm still needing those. So what we did in class, don't forget questions of the day. The main thing we focused on was comparing and contrasting monotheistic religions. I cannot express enough to do this assignment first, because once you do this, these other two little assignments, it will drastically help you. So what we're doing, we're focusing on the three most major monotheistic religion, which monotheistic means belief in one God. So we're only focusing on these three for this week that focus on one God. Eventually we'll learn about other religions that believe in multiple. So what you are doing, you are comparing and contrasting that these three religions throughout history, they've always kind of fought with one another, that I want you to be able to compare and contrast them. The first thing I have to say is on the left side, it's similarities, the right side, it's a difference. If this template is moving, it will move. So what I mean by that, so say I start typing, it's going to go down here at the left. And if that happens to you, that is okay. Like, as a teacher, I can read, I can figure out where stuff is. If this is bothering you because you want it to be more organized, if you're like me, it bothers me. What I told the last class, at the very bottom of this document, if you want to type the word difference and the word similarity, if you want to type your answers down here in like a continuous sentence, you can do that. So if you don't want to jot them up here, again, and if you want to put them at the bottom, just make sure you're clearly stating difference, similarity, that's fine. Because for some students, it was really bothering them. But if you do that, just make sure you still have 6 differences, 6 similarities. So how we find these answers, if you go through this slideshow, I was very, very deliberate to include tons and tons of examples of differences and similarities. Please do make sure you read through this. I'm going to skim through some of the important ones. I'm not going to go through on this video every single one. So make sure you do read through these. This is going to help you with your project. That most of your project, you can find the answers on this slideshow. So for the first one, we talk about Judaism, that they were founded by a man named Abraham. Christians were founded by Jesus. Islam was founded by Muhammad. So this is going to be my first example. So that's a really good difference. So that's one difference. So founded by, if I could spell, founded by Islam was Muhammad. Christians, Jesus. And Judaism was founded by Abraham. Okay, so that's one really good difference. So I'm just going to put that down here. You do not need this exact one. I am just giving you an example of what this is going to wind up looking like. There are so many differences, so if you want to pick out a different difference, you can. I'm just showing you an example of what I'm talking about. Followers. So this is another difference you can talk to. Judaism, in case I use these words and you're confused, Judaism, to practice Judaism, you were called a Jew. Christianity is called Christians, and Islam is called Muslims. For these 3 religions, Judaism, their head clergy person, who is the person in charge, is called a rabbi. The S is silent. Christians have a variety of different terms for their head leader, mainly because different Christian churches have changed a lot over time. So they have what's called a bishop, pastor, minister, priest. Priest and minister are probably the most common. And then Islam has what is called imams. So again, this is a really good slide that I think for differences. So I could put clergy. Again, Islam. I could type Islam. Those people are called imams. And you're going to want to be as specific as possible. It's going to help you later on with your writing. Christians, you can pick one of those words. I'm going to pick priest. Judaism, theirs is called a rabbi. Okay. Okay, so notice how I am doing that. So those are two differences. House of worship, so where they go to pray. Obviously, you can pray anywhere for these religions, but their main places. So Judaism is called a synagogue or a temple. Christianity is, they have three. It could be a church, cathedral, or a chapel. Islam is a mosque. Their day of worship. Now, day of worship has really changed throughout time. But what they're usually most known for, their holy day usually is for Jews is Saturday, Christians Sunday, and Islam is Friday. Obviously, that can change depending on where you live. But these are really good differences as well. So I'm not going to write out every single thing for you. But if you want to put house of worship, and then please list, I'm just not doing that for you. Their holy day, again, list it. I'm not doing that for you. So if you're copying my screen, make sure you actually write them out. Okay, so there's 4 good differences right there. Languages, you could talk about their difference of languages or their names of their God. Those are really good differences as well. Major locations, these are really good differences as well. Most Jews are located in Israel, Europe, or North America. Obviously, there can be Jews anywhere in the world, but those are the main places. I listed out where they've expanded over time. If you're curious to know, like number-wise, in the world, there's 14 million Jews, 2 billion Christians, and 1.3 Islams or Muslims. That number is changing. It is constantly increasing. Eventually, Islam will most likely have more Muslims than it will Christians. Sacred texts, this is probably the biggest one, that Jews believe are read from the Torah, Christians believe from the Bible, Islam from the Quran. So I would probably put that one, holy book. Okay, so Jews believe in what is called the Torah. Christians read from the Bible. And Muslims from the Quran. Apologize for spelling. Now, similarities, a cool similarity that you can type, they all have a holy book. Now, the holy books are different based on their names, but it's fascinating because all 3 of them, they refer back to a holy book. So that can actually be a similarity as well. They are all monotheistic, meaning they all believe in one God. So that's a really good similarity. They all believe in one God. So that's a great one to put. Divine revelation, what that means divine means to God and revelation means to see. That all 3 religions refer to a prophet. A prophet is a person that has interacted with their God. All 3 of them, believe it or not, actually have very similar prophets. For example, the prophet Abraham actually appears in all 3. So that is actually a really fascinating similarity. They all have prophets. If you want to put in parentheses so you remember that definition, a person who spoke to God. And I am so apologetic, I cannot spell today. So that's a really good similarity. Salvation. Salvation means how to save your soul. All 3 believe in a very, very similar concept that you have to do good deeds. That can usually translates to the 10 Commandments or sins, if you've ever heard those words. That you have to do things such as you don't steal, you don't commit murder, you don't lie, that you have to be a good person in order to go to heaven. So that's another really good similarity. Sorry. All believe in salvation. aka be a good person to go to heaven. We're getting to the next one. They all believe in an afterlife. Five pillars of Islam, that's the only thing that's uniquely different with Islam of what they have to do for salvation, which I'll refer back to this in a minute. Afterlife, all of them believe, and I'm going to use this word for biblical reasons, not cursing. They believe in what is called a heaven and a hell. All three of them believe in that if you're a bad person, you go to hell. If you're a good person, you go to heaven. Symbols, the rest of this you can go through yourself. The rest of this is really going to help you with your project, which I'm going to discuss here in a minute. But going back to this, obviously you can jot down what I have. Clearly I did not finish typing, so make sure you finish the holy day and so forth. And you can use different examples. These are just a few that I picked. You can go through that slideshow and pick out similarities and differences. Again, if you rather do it up here, you are welcome to it. I just know a few students really struggle with that. For question 1 and 2, what are two things that all three have in common? Again, if you refer back to your similarities, you can pick your top two. That what do you think is the coolest thing they have in common? Second question is, what two things make all three religions different? Again, if you look through any of these differences, you can pick two that you think are really fascinating and cool for their differences. Once you do that, you can hit turn in. Now, going back to Google Classroom, if you look, I have now separated this assignment because it was confusing people. If you click on Form and Performance Task, usually at the end of every assignment, I have you write a paragraph. For some reason, people kept forgetting to do that, or they didn't want to do it on their own. So I've made it a separate assignment, so that way it's kind of a helpful reminder for you to do it. This is a mastery assignment, which means it's really important that you do it. You're writing a paragraph explaining those three religions. Do they have more in common, or do they have more different? So refer back to this. If you want to talk about both and say it's about equal, they have differences and similarities, you can. So refer back to this and choose a side that talk about their similarities, talk about their differences. If you do that alone, this should be a very easy paragraph to do. But please, I beg you, refer back. You already did this assignment. It should help you. Refer back to that slideshow. Once you write that paragraph, you hit turn in. Again, that is a master grade, meaning like it's a test or a quiz. Please take it seriously. Come to class, ask me questions if you get stuck on it. All right, lastly, our religion project. On class on Thursday, I will spend more time going over this, but I've been asking people, please get a head start on working on this, so that way if you get stuck on a question, I can help you. You are choosing 4 religions, not 1, and you're not doing all of them. You are doing 4. I have 5 listed, which means one of them you will not do. You're doing this project on the slideshow that I already created for you. I don't care how many slides. I don't care what you title it. You can make it cute, however you want. The main thing I'm looking for, depending on what 4 you choose. So say, for example, you choose Judaism as one of the religions. You are answering all of these bullet points. Now, how do you find these answers? Majority of these questions come from the slideshow. I did that on purpose. Okay, so for example, house of worship, that's where they go to pray. So say I'm learning about Judaism, they pray in a synagogue. The first question on here, where is their place of worship? Synagogue. If you cannot find it on the slideshow, copy and paste that question and then put the religion at the end of it. So say you copy and paste and then put Judaism, an answer should pop up. The only one that's different, if you go to the bullet point where it says Islam, describe 5 pillars. If you choose to do your project on Islam, you have to include that, which is why on this slideshow, if you go to it, I included a slide about the 5 pillars of Islam. At the bottom, you'll wind up having to do 1, if not 2. Hinduism or Buddhism. These are very different because they are polytheistic religions. I obviously have not gone over these 2 religions because I want you to do some background. You're going to answer all of these questions, Okay, so are they monotheistic or polytheistic? I can tell you right now, they're both polytheistic. Tell me 5 facts about that religion. So you have to do that for Hindu or Buddhism if you do both. But down here, I have separated individual questions because those two religions are very unique and special. So if you choose Hinduism, you have to answer these 3 questions. If you choose Buddhism, you have to answer those 2 questions. Please do not get stuck on a question. So say you decide you're going to do these top 3 and then Buddhism. So say you get to Buddhism and you can't figure out who founded the religion. Don't just stop working. Continue to go on to other questions, and then in class or office hours, or you can message me, ask me for that specific question. I can help give you the answer. Okay, but please don't just stop because you get stuck on one question. So please come to class with those questions. I'm happy to help you. Again, the biggest thing, because a lot of people are getting confused, you have to pick 4 religions. It's not just one. Okay, please come to class on Thursday so I can help you. Message me if you need help.